There we go. Ooh, I might have two on. Oh, I think I got two. Yes, and they're fighting each other and they're going nuts, and it's awesome. And this is South Louisiana speckled trout fishing during the fall, baby. Boom! Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One of the easiest ways to catch speckled trout is to find them feeding under diving birds. It's easy. You see a flock of birds diving, cast a lure underneath them, and catch a speckled trout. But if you've done this enough, then you probably ran into problems. Sometimes there are no speckled trout, or there are only throwbacks, very few keepers, if any at all, or trash fish you don't plan on catching. So how do you know if a particular flock of diving birds is worth your time or not? Hi. My name's Devin. I'm a former fishing guide, and today I make my living by teaching people how to catch speckled trout, redfish, and more right here on Louisiana's coast. If that's something that interests you and you're interested to learn how I do it, then you should consider subscribing to this channel. Now, I've caught a lot of speckled trout or redfish under diving birds. In this video, I'm going to share with you what I've learned over the years so you can catch a bunch of fish too. If you find this video informative and helpful, then it'd be great if you could leave it a thumbs up. For now, let's get started by looking at the short and easy answer. The kind of diving birds you want to fish are laughing seagulls. You want to see a lot of them, not just one or two. You want to see them confidently diving. You want to see them pulling bait out of the water, and when you make a cast, you want to catch keeper speckled trout. If you don't, then move on to your next fishing spot. Bam! That's it. That's my down and dirty, short and sweet answer. If you want to know more details, and why would you not, then keep watching. What causes diving birds? The best way to begin to learn how to fish the right diving birds is to understand what causes them to dive in the first place. Simply put, birds begin diving on a particular patch of water when there's bait for them to see at the surface. This usually happens when that bait is being driven to the surface by fish, whether that's speckled trout, redfish, sailcats, or something else. The most common scenario you will encounter is jumping shrimp. In fact, pretty much any time you see jumping shrimp, you can bet on there being great speckled trout action. But there are also menhaden, which are referred to as pogies here on Louisiana's coast, potbelly minnows, bay anchovies, and more. These can also hold speckled trout, but they can also hold other fish that you may not be targeting, such as ladyfish and gaff tops. You can tell by looking at the kind of diving bird. Pelicans will pretty much never have speckled trout underneath them, though you can count on them revealing redfish and gaff tops. Terns are another bird that usually do not indicate speckled trout, but this is not always the case, and more on this in a moment. What birds should you avoid? I already mentioned pelicans and terns, but other bird types you should avoid include roosting birds, bycatch birds, propwash birds, frigate birds, ospreys, and pretty much anything that's not a laughing seagull confidently diving on bait. It's common to see birds roosting on barrier islands such as Breton or Timbalier Islands, and from a distance, it could appear that they are actively feeding, but they usually are not. Instead, they're just flying about the island they made nests on. Bycatch birds are simply birds that are following a commercial fishing boat, like a shrimp boat or a crab boat. All they're doing is eating bycatch thrown over the side. There are no feeding fish there. Propwash birds are doing pretty much the same thing. Sometimes a big crew boat will motor over an area and birds will check as propwash for an easy meal. Again, this does not equate to the kind of good diving birds mentioned earlier. So whenever you see a flock of diving birds, it is worth your time to scan the horizon to see if a shrimp boat or crew boat came through the area. Well, what about lyrebirds? It's common to see a lot of terns diving, and most of the time you want to pass them up. If there are fish underneath them, then rarely is it going to be speckled trout, especially during summer. That's why we call them lyrebirds, because to novice fishermen, they are lying about the fish action underneath them. But this is not the case during winter. When it's cold, it is totally possible to find these birds inside the marsh diving on potbelly minnows being fed on by speckled trout. So, for the most part, you should ignore terns during summer, but look for them during winter. What if I only catch throwbacks or trash fish? Then that's probably all that's there. However, it can be worth your time to try fan casting around or even reposition your boat. It's totally possible that keeper speckled trout can be found just off to the side of where you caught the trash fish. This has been my experience as well as that of other inshore anglers. For example, consider this report from the LAFB elite community, where one member came across a bunch of ladyfish while fishing diving birds, but after moving closer to shore, started catching a good deal of keeper speckled trout and eventually limited out. What if terns and gulls are mixed together? Sometimes you'll find the right and wrong birds diving together. When you do, there could be good fishing underneath them, and it's worth your time to make a few casts to find out. What is good tackle for fishing diving birds? Well, you can throw a few different things like a jig head on casting tackle or even a popping cork, but I'm a fan of using a double rig on spinning tackle, and that's why I made this guide detailing my favorite way to tie it. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up. That way I know to keep making more of them. If you'd like to know when the next video goes live, then all you have to do is subscribe and ring that bell for all notifications. Tight lines, and thank you for watching.